The former public protector's office employee, Tebogo Kekana, has maintained that it was advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane's idea to change the constitution in order to change the mandate of the Reserve Bank. It was a recommendation and a report from the public protector's office. Kekana has, however, admitted that the recommendation came from the state security agency, he says. He's also still being cross-examined this afternoon at an impeachment inquiry that's exploring or looking into advocate Mkhwebane's fitness to hold office. Athi Mtongana is our reporter on this story. Athi, tell us more about the line of questioning today from advocate Dalimpofu.
Well, in essence, what Advocate Dalimpofu is trying to do is to get Mr. Kekana to respond to some of the claims that he has made in the affidavit that he deposed in 2019. And of course, some of those claims include the amending or the recommendation of changing the constitution to allow for the Reserve Bank to be nationalized. So it was an issue that was quite dealt with a lot, because initially yesterday Tebogo Kekana mentioned that the recommendation came from the state security agency, and today he's saying that the recommendation, or rather the idea, came from the public protector. So one would then say he's essentially saying that the wording came from the state security and the idea then from the public protector. So those are just kind of the utterances that we've heard from this third witness, who's a former senior investigator in the office of the public protector. There was also an issue, Tembekile, that was discussed just before adjourning for this lunch break pertaining to President Jacob Zuma, former President Jacob Zuma, rather, and a meeting that has landed the public protector before this impeachment inquiry, where Advocate Dalimpofu was referencing the independent panel report, which found a prima facie evidence of incompetence against Mkhwebane for including the issue of her not disclosing a meeting that took place between her and the state security agency, as well as the presidency. And he then, Advocate Dalimpofu, that is, asked Mr. Kekana whether he's aware of a meeting that took place with former President Jacob Zuma, and he responded by saying that he is not aware of any meeting that took place. And this went on until Advocate Dalimpofu proceeded to ask him about the Fred Dairy Farm report and whether he was aware of the report. And he mentioned that Mr. Kekana, that he was only involved in the investigation of the Fred Dairy Farm towards the tail end of the report, and he had no appetite to read the full report, that is. But going back to the issue of the amending of the Constitution to allow for the Reserve Bank to be nationalized, I'd like us to listen to that exchange that took place between Advocate Dalimpofu and Tebogo Kekana.
So you never said that the recommendation to change the constitution came from the SSA?
I said the recommendation that was provided to us came from the SSA.
By that you meant just a piece of paper, or did you mean the recommendation itself, the idea?
The piece of paper.
Oh, I see.
The idea, from what I know, according to my personal knowledge, always came from the PP.
Good. So, okay. Thank you. That's a major breakthrough. So you accept that the idea was generated by, among other things, by the interactions you had with Mr. Goodson, correct?
I wouldn't know what the motive for the idea would be.
No, I'm not talking about motives, Mr. Kekana. I'm saying, do you know that the idea was, among other things, influenced by your interactions, you and the PP, with Mr. Goodson?
I don't know.
Did Mr. Goodson not talk about this idea in your discussions with him or in reading his book?
Yes, we did talk about that.
Also, another issue that was discussed, Temekile, regarding the discussions that took place with the State Security Agency, and Kekana is maintaining that when they had these discussions with the State Security Agency, when they mentioned the issue of vulnerability with regards to the Reserve Bank, he said that they were referring to these discussions within the context of the pre-democracy or the pre-democratic dispensation. And Advocate Dalimbofu says that he will be arguing, of course, on behalf of the public protector that this is not the case. Another issue that they were also discussing is the issue pertaining to the quality assurance of the report, which Kekana says that it was not quality assured, that he initially looked at it as someone who compiled the report. This is the South African Reserve Bank report that I'm speaking about. Mr. Kekana maintains that he initially compiled the report and had quality assured it for it to be then moved to the quality assurance unit under Mr. Matlawe, who then, he says, did not ensure that it was quality assured. And he says that he flagged this issue with the public protector, but then they proceeded to release the report without it being quality assured. Again, Advocate Dalimbofu saying that the public protector will argue that this is not the case and that she had asked Mr. Kekana to ensure that the report is quality assured before it gets released. And he will also argue that the public protector says that the report was indeed quality assured through all the steps that needed to be undertaken for quality assurance. We'll resume again after the break, hopefully when we do get back at 2 p.m. Advocate Dalimbofu will conclude with his cross-examination of Mr. Kekana, so that MPs can also have their input in as far as this third witness is concerned.
Athi Mtongana, for now, thank you very much for that live update from Cape Town.